Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Gaming and Music Matters. This is part two of two. My name is Jasper Donat, CEO of Branded, and we've been producing the last couple of weeks lots and lots of great events around music matters, sports matters, VidCon, marketing matters, and lots and lots and lots of conversations around the metaverse. So we thought, let's bring it all together with our friends from Riot Games and bring the music industry and the gaming industries together to highlight really what happens when these two amazing industries collide, when they come together, and showcase some amazing success stories and demonstrate really how artists and entertainment companies and gamers can really capitalize on what is one of the most exciting platforms in the entertainment business today. So how? This morning we learned a lot. We had the creatives with us. We had the global head of music for Riot Games, and we also had an amazing artist called Mako talking about the creative side of it. We also learned about Riot working with some amazing artists around the world, all over the world, delivering billions of views, not just hundreds of millions, not millions, but billions of views, with people like Imagine Dragons, Pentakill, KDA, Zed, pop stars, plus artists close to home in Asia, D. Gerard, MNL48, and more. So very, very exciting conversations. Plus, we talked about partnerships with Warner Music and Spotify, and partnerships like that, and Epic Games that we're going to be looking at and putting a microscope on this afternoon. They even have their own record label. So I said, 2 sessions today, the creatives this morning, now the business side of it are taking over the asylum. And we're going to be, but I think from this morning, the 2 real insights that I took out of the conversation were, A, it's really exciting, and B, it's only at the beginning. So there's only one way this can all go. So let's look at the business side. We're going to be talking to Riot's head of Southeast Asia, along with Epic Games and Warner Music. The sessions really have been designed to showcase this opportunity between music and gaming. We're going to meet Saishri from Epic, and we're going to meet Louisa from Warner Music, who, if you know Branded, you'll know Louisa Berry from as she used to work with us. Now she's at Warner Music. But first, we're going to meet Justin Hulog, who is the head of all things Southeast Asia and Taiwan for Riot Games. And I must say, the first time I've interviewed you when you're not in quarantine. So Justin, I know who you are, but please, for the benefit of all of our wonderful friends out in the World Wide Web, who are you, where are you, and what do your friends think you do for a living?
Thanks, Jasper, for that lovely introduction. For those of you that joined this morning's session, where my colleague Toa talked about the work that he does, my name is Justin Hulag. I'm the general manager for Southeast Asia and Taiwan at Riot Games. I don't do the fun stuff, so I manage kind of like the numbers and the business and sort of the marketing of our games. I don't get to kind of do all the cool collaborations, but we oversee the deployment of those things within the region, and that's part of what I'm really, really excited to talk to you guys about today. And to Jasper's point, this is actually the first time in recent memory that I'm talking to Jasper, not from a quarantine hotel in Taiwan or the US. I'm happily at home in Singapore, and super, super excited to be here today with all of you.
Fantastic. So Justin, I know you've got a few slides that you'd like to share. So over to you.
I do. Great. So I think that many people are familiar with Riot, but I wanted to just take a little bit of time to sort of talk about what it is that we do and how we work together. This is me, a little high level about me. So I was born in the Philippines, but I grew up in the US, and now I'm happily here in Singapore. Next page. And the stuff that you really care about, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about Riot. So Riot is a video game company that was founded in 2006. For many years, we had one video game, League of Legends, which is our flagship title. Last year, we were really, really excited to add the S to Riot Games through a number of games that we launched in the region, including Wild Rift, Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, and Teamfight Tactics. And our mission is to become the most player-focused game company in the world. And we really keep that mission like first and foremost in everything that we do from both the regional and the global level. Next page. So wanted to spend a little bit of time also highlighting the fact that, our aspiration, and this is something that people don't really think about when they think about video game companies, is to become an entertainment company and to become a global entertainment company that works with like-minded brands and partners to really deliver exciting collaborations. And I just wanted to highlight a few of them here. On the left, you can see how we've collaborated with brands like Louis Vuitton. In the bottom right, you can see sort of the Beta Gate collaborations. You can see that Louis Vuitton actually dressed up our virtual girl band KDA and put them on the cover of L Singapore in January, which was something we were really excited about. And we were also partnered with Nike and Uniqlo on a lot of various apparel campaigns. Next page. Regionally, we've also done a lot of really, really exciting initiatives to create hallmark moments in pop culture. You can see that in the lower right, the Sabotage partnerships, where there were some dope sneakers that we made for the launch of Wild Rift. The Honey Fruit Cart, which was a taste of the online game that we brought to Bangkok so that people could taste actual, there's these honey fruits basically that drop and give you health in the game. And we wanted people to taste it in real life. And the Pentaboom film, which was a short film that we had created as a launch video for Wild Rift to feature cameos of the region's top gaming personalities. And what we really, really wanted to do there was to make sure that we were creating very local experiences and working very closely with local artists and influencers to develop signature experiences. Next page. So wanted also to spend a little bit of time talking about music. So as we expand our game IP across more mediums, music is becoming more and more important. And for those of you that joined the morning session, where Toa talked about a lot of the work that we did, music is becoming one of the key ways that our players experience and enjoy our content. Personally, I really love all of the things that we've done with KDA. I think that even, and for me, KDA was the first big collaboration or big sort of musical track that we launched where people that didn't even play our game were suddenly listening to KDA and playing it at the gym and saying, oh yeah, I know what that is. And to me, that was when it really clicked that actually we have the ability there to really kind of have a significant impact on our audiences. And in SEA, we really take a two-pronged approach to our music strategy. So we really think about how do we make sure that everything that we create is tailored for Southeast Asian audiences while being global? And then how do we think about creating Southeast Asia specific experiences for our fans? Next page. So an example of sort of how we think about that tailoring is the Symphony of Light orchestral experience that came as part of our first multi-game campaign, which was Sentinels of Light. And the thing that I thought was really cool about this was that we had a global soundtrack that we created, which was launched all over the world. But what we decided to do was actually to bring a bunch of Southeast Asian artists from all over, or Southeast Asian musicians from all over the region to create a symphony using iconic instruments, right? Beloved instruments from Vietnam, from the Philippines, from Thailand, from Indonesia, the gamelan, etc. And the result was really, really exciting. A lot of people were really, really excited to see this global moment translated, literally translated musically using traditional instruments from their home countries. And it was one of those moments that we were really, really proud of. Next page. We've also collaborated with a lot of local artists in SEA. Two songs that I just wanted to call out, 555 in Thailand, and then All In, which we made in Indonesia with Tabitha Nauser, who if you remember, wrote the song Bulletproof. And so we've been really, really excited to test out creating these super local, working with local artists to create these signature musical moments that are for the region. And we are excited to do more of that next year. Next page. And then we've also worked with global and local artists to hold special SEA performances to mark our major esports events. And esports for me is one of those things where, if you kind of think in the US about the impact of the halftime show, it's really, really an exciting way to connect music and esports together. So we worked with the Filipino girl band, MNL48, on an opening performance for our Summer Super Cup. And it was a really, really exciting moment because a lot of people talked about how, the performance as well as the esports were two things that we were really, really excited about. Next page. And of course, this was a moment that was really, really exciting as well, is that we brought Espa and the Hallyu Waves to our grand finals. So this was a next level sort of event where we were able to take a super, super popular band and kind of bring them to fans of our esports events. Next, I wanted to talk about Arcane. And Arcane personally is one of the projects that I have been most excited about. So when I started at Riot nearly 5 years ago, Arcane was one of the projects that we had just started. And for us, it's really telling the story behind the world of League of Legends. It was an animated series, and I remember that the mission when we launched Arcane was to figure out a way to make sure that it was a show that even people who didn't like League of Legends and didn't play video games could get into. I've been super excited about the response to Arcane so far. According to the Netflix top 10 rankings, Arcane's become a top watched show in Asia, and Europe, Africa, and the Americas. It's the #1 show for the past couple of weeks since it's launched. My nieces and nephews who didn't play video games, where I'm not their favorite uncle, I am now officially their favorite uncle because of Arcane, and I'm super excited about it. I wanted to also highlight the way that we sort of worked to make that event, which was a global launch, local. Next page. So we actually ended up thinking about ways to kind of bring people in to Arcane, and because of the COVID restrictions, we really couldn't bring all of the press together to Singapore or to LA. And so a small number of influencers were invited to participate in LA, but then we actually created a number of ways that other influencers who couldn't fly were able to participate. We made a pixel art version of the Undercities, which is like a Stardew Valley sort of translation of Zon, which is one of the cities that's shown in Arcane. And we also treated to sort of a recorded as live musical performance by Han in the pixel art version of that Undercity experience. So that we really wanted to make sure that even people who couldn't be there for the premiere in LA were able to experience the launch of Arcane from the comfort of their own homes. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about some of our unique SEA music experiences, and I'm super excited to see what we can bring to everyone next year.
That's great, Justin. Some really cool stories there. Going to drill down into some of that. Before we do, as ever, I forgot to ask anyone who's watching out there on the internet, if you've got any questions for Justin, Saishri, or Louisa later, please get them in and we'll try and get them to them as we go along. So look, thank you for sharing the presentation again. You talked about some really great names, global names, Asian names, and working with brands and working with Riot. And you're talking about some, looking forward to doing more next year. How does an artist work with Riot in this part of the world?
So speaking from the Riot SEA experience, we end up seeking out artists who will connect particularly to local campaigns, right? So we collaborated with ML48 and Weird Genius and Fix because we knew that there was an overlap between their audience and our audience. And so in that case, the very simple answer is to sort of reach out to our local marketing teams to kind of figure out how we make those connections. The global team, though, has a completely different purview, and I don't work with that team closely. However, as Toa mentioned, there's a lot more opportunities that are involved as we kind of seek to expand our musical presence more broadly.
Fantastic. How do you think that gaming and gaming in general is changing music discovery and music marketing?
So I think that it's changing because it's all really muddled. When I think about the way that this conference was sort of designed before, where there was gaming matters and music matters, there were separate events, right? And to a certain extent, you would kind of treat them as different worlds. And to a certain extent, what I think gaming is starting to do is to really just muddle into a lot of different things. Like gaming companies now produce animated series, and they can throw concerts, and they work with world-class artists, and they do fashion collaborations. And so what I think that's happening is that the video games themselves and the platforms and the channels that we own actually are valuable discovery points for both artists and companies to sort of listen to music. The other thing that I would sort of think about is that we think about also how can we make I would say innovative experiences or innovative music experiences for people to sort of participate. So the thing that I would sort of call out is that we collaborated with Zed, the artist, to make the first audio-driven skin line for Valorant, right? And those aren't two things that you would necessarily connect, which are skins that you kind of have in a video game, as well as music. But that was a really exciting way for us to kind of think about how we could make electronic music fans excited about playing our games.
And then final question to you before we go to Louisa. I know that Riot, and one of the the reasons we're showing this gaming and music coming together is Riot do want to be seen as more than just a gaming or esports network. What and you use the word muddled. What other industries are you muddling up with?
I mean, I showed you a bunch of them in the past few slides, but fashion is definitely a place where we're really playing. Music is a place where we're definitely playing. Art is another place where we're spending a lot of time. And with Arcane, like, I think that we're really trying our best to sort of make our mark in animated series, in television shows and film. So I think that across the entertainment spectrum, wherever we can, we are interested in testing new experiments and ideas.
Fantastic. Well, we've heard from a gaming company talk about music. Now we're going to hear about we're going to talk to a music company to talk about gaming. So thanks, Justin. We're going to see you back in a minute. Any questions for Justin or anyone else who's speaking, please get them in and they'll be fed to me and I can ask them a little bit later on. So up next, I'm thrilled that this is the first time I think it's the first time I've ever interviewed an ex-member of staff. So Louisa Berry, ex-branded, but now Warner Music. But where are you in the world today, and what do you do for Warner Music?
So I'm currently in Hong Kong. I work on the regional brand partnerships team for Warner Music Asia. I think what you asked earlier is, what do your friends think that you do? My friends definitely don't think I work in gaming. I think they think I'm touring around the world with really cool artists like Ed Sheeran, but absolutely not. We're all digital as we are today.
And you're in Hong Kong, right? So yeah, we're talking about gaming and music coming together. So Warner has made some pretty cool investments into gaming companies in Asia Pacific recently. Can I ask, who are they, and how are you working with them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working with two major ones this year. One, Tier 1, which they're based out of the Philippines. So they're a major media and talent agency. They have over 400 gaming talent signed to their roster, and combined following millions across all the different platforms that they use. And then the other company that we invested in is ESPL, which are an amateur grassroots tournament organizer. So both of them offering slightly different things, but the way that we're partnering with Tier 1 is being their exclusive music provider. They've recently created their IP, The Gaming House, which is a reality show to find the next biggest gamer in the Philippines. And we helped them partner up with the right artist who resonates in the Philippines specifically, but then also across Asia to do their theme song and then also appear as a celebrity guest. So that was really cool, and that's still ongoing. And I think we'll see that roll out in different markets that they work in. And then with ESPL, we are doing sort of like a plug and play where, they have services that they have sort of ready, they're experts in their field, set up to allow our artists to tap into their user base. So we don't have the ability to set up an esports tournament with just a click of a button, but they do. So we can run really cool campaigns where our artists who are gamers want to get more into this space with the right resources, and host a little tournament online with their fans, just making it more interactive, more entertaining for their fans.
And so which Warner artists are into gaming?
Well, a lot of them actually. So yeah, I think it was about, I joined Warner in November 2019, and that was when the whole world flipped on its head. And very quickly after that, in January 2020, we asked every single market, every single artist around the world to tell us who are the gamers out of our artists and what do they play. So we have Spinning Records, we have a lot of the world's best DJs on our roster. Alok, he was a Free Fire ambassador, as was Kashmir. And then we also have Ed Sheeran, obviously, who's just done the Go Pokemon campaign. Who else we got? With Nathan Hartono, who spoke at All That Matters last week. 21 Pilots are gamers. Yeah, we have a whole range of them. And then locally, in Asia, there's a lot of them who play more of the mobile games, which is, I think, where we're seeing a lot of our partnerships being done.
Fantastic. I've just been alerted that a 16-year-old gamer has just made it home from school and she's making a lot of noise in the background. So we're either going to be interrupted by my daughter or my cats. So they're very excited about this session, of course. And final question. No, not fight. So how is Warner Music working with Riot Games? How are you and Justin working together?
Yeah, well, we started working together just over a year ago when they were trying to, as they said, work with more locally relevant artists. So they first approached us to work with a Singaporean artist, Nathan Hartono, for the Wild Rift launch. We also worked with them on a local campaign in Thailand to make an artist of ours who's actually a Valorant player. You know, Riot are really big into players being the artists being actual gamers of their games and it being authentic. So I think, you know, gamers and fans can smell a phony partnership a mile away. So we really want to get that authentic message across. We did a music video product placement with this Thai artist, D. Gerard. And then most recently, we did the one that Justin showed with Arcane, the press event where Hon, our British act, performed in a pixelated bar. And that was definitely a first for me, watching a concert as a little avatar, following them around.
And you know, you mentioned avatars, and we're about to talk to Saishri from Epic Games, but I've done quite a few sessions recently on AI and avatars, and I have to say I'm becoming more and more sold on the idea of watching artists, either the avatars of artists or, you know, artists who are created as avatars. And there's that wonderful show that was going on in the US called Alter Ego, which was artists creating avatars of themselves in a kind of an American Idol style thing. But what's Warner Music's view towards avatars and AI, and is it the commoditization of musicians, of artists, or is it exciting? What's the outlook?
Well, I definitely think it's exciting. Like, we actually are the first label who's ever signed a virtual idol. So we've signed a virtual artist to our new label, which is a Pan-Asian electronic dance label based out of China. And her name is Ha Jiang. So it's actually really interesting because when she signed to the label, she already had her own following online. It's a completely different audience for us to tap into. It can help cut through the noise, you know, help them stand out as well. And we're going to partner her up to feature on other tracks with, you know, our real life artists in different markets, and hopefully allow that kind of trend to travel. And I definitely think we'll see more artists wanting to turn into their own avatars and vice versa. So yeah, very exciting.
It's a brilliant
we also obviously did some Roblox in-game concerts. That was the other thing, yeah, where 21 Pilots most recently were turned into little avatars. They did a very interactive concert for their fans, you know, at a time when they can't tour. It's a really exciting place to entertain their fans, reach them in different markets. There was a whole metaverse experience where you could go from pre-concert to concert, different maps, buying their merch, winning prizes. The fans could dictate the set list by voting for what one goes next, and it was viewed by 13 million people, and 70% of them were out of the US, which, you know, is quite big for Roblox because it's quite US centric. So I think we'll definitely see more artists wanting to get into that space.
We definitely talked about this morning. We talked about it being artists going fishing where the fishes are swimming. I think the other thing that's interesting about avatars and AI is language gets taken care of. So you don't have to assume that they're going to understand your English or K-pop or your Mandarin or your Hindi or your Spanish language music, because you can translate it easily or fairly easily, and then your avatar can connect with local audiences in local markets. So that's very exciting. So thank you, Louisa, because we're going to carry on to about avatars now, but you're going to get whisked off with Justin and Justin's dog into the back room. And now we're going to say hello, Gaming and Music Matters hello, first time ever, to Saishri. Saishri, you are working for Epic Games, one of the coolest companies in the gaming industry. Please tell me who you are, where you are, what do you do for a living? What do your friends think you do for a living?
Thank you, Jasper, for having me over. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're right. I work for one of the coolest companies, Epic Games. I'm the Unreal Engine BD lead for India and Southeast Asia for games, and that's what I do. My friends think it's the coolest job, and I agree with them. So yeah, and I'm based in India in a beautiful town called Cochin. That's where I live and work. Yeah, so that's about me, and thank you so much for having me over today.
It's brilliant. Well, from South India to Singapore. Tell us. You mentioned Unreal Engine. That's what we really want to talk about today. And tell me, what is Unreal Engine? How does it work? And how are you working with artists?
Unreal Engine is a complete suite of development tools for anyone working with real-time technology. It gives creators across industries, including music, the freedom and to control and deliver cutting-edge entertainment, compelling visualizations, and immersive visual worlds and virtual worlds. So Unreal Engine's real-time 3D technology and pipelines fundamentally change the way in which creativity, innovation, collaboration happens. So if you look at it, instead of the development process being hindered by a time-intensive, slow rendering process, it's transformed into an instant one, a real-time one, and that's what Unreal Engine does. And I think what's so exciting for everyone in Epic is how the game engine technology is at the heart of this entertainment and experience shift that we are seeing in this new age of content creation, immersive storytelling, and sort of design-driven development. And as our technology becomes even more advanced, and anyone anywhere has the power to create photorealistic animation, design, and 3D visualization instantly. And what it all adds up is to sort of radically better ways to create, innovate, and collaborate. So it's a technical and artistic freedom like never before. So with Unreal Engine, you can sort of speed up processes, drive faster iterations and revisions, and most importantly, I think you can ensure better quality and outcomes. So we work across industries: architecture, games, films, and TV, training and simulation, manufacturing, advertising, and yes, music. So that's what we do. And you're right, we work with several artists. Many ways we do that. One is, some of the spectacular virtual concerts, demonstrates both the capability of the Unreal Engine as well as how we seamlessly sort of seamlessly integrate experiences within a world. And we call those crossover events. And one I'd like to point out is the very famous Ariana Grande's Rift Tour, the in-game musical event for Fortnite. Which demonstrated the Unreal Engine's capabilities in a simulated interactive world building experience. And what we wanted to do was to put a lot more control and interaction into the player's hands. You talked about avatars earlier in the conversation, and it's all of us in the world of Fortnite and watching this concert. And Jasper, you may want to play that video and just showcase what we do.
Let's run the video. I mean, it's super, super, super cool. But and the way you describe it, I mean, do you have to physically be somewhere, or is it 100% online? You mentioned the advanced technologies. Is it really accessible to artists? Is it easy to create all these amazing avatars? And the big, obviously, I guess the main question is it expensive?
Good question, Jasper. Unreal is absolutely free to download and use. And I must point out, since we are in this region, Southeast Asia and India, what we do is support musicians and artists who want to use Unreal for to create their videos and experiences. So we offer free training in this region, bring people up to speed to what Unreal can do and deliver experiences. So that's something that we constantly do to encourage artists and adopt to Unreal. And for us, it's always been at Epic, the creator first approach. So we want to empower everyone to create and share, compelling experiences. And we are here to support artists. All you have to do is reach out to us, and we are here to support you. And you're right, it's you can create fabulous content from anywhere in 3D, in real time. And I think you mentioned alter ego in your conversation earlier, and that's a pretty cool example, on how Unreal was used. So yeah.
I have to say, it was a big question mark for me, and then I watched the first episode of Unreal of Alter Ego, and I was sold because it gave artists who weren't comfortable being out on stage. So usually the backing singers, who are sometimes more talented than the main singers, but the backing artists an opportunity to shine. And I mean that's fantastic. That gets many ticks for me. I mean, going back to the artists that you're working with, I know that you work with a number of artists in Asia Pacific. Who have you been working with?
Yeah, so a lot of artists have used Unreal for their music videos and experiences. And you asked me specifically about this region, and some of them are Strings is a very popular band in Pakistan who shot their music video using Unreal virtual production. There's Hideout, Singapore, who brought music lovers closer to their artists using virtual live concerts. In India, back home where I live, Voyager is a surreal audio visual journey into interstellar space and pretty cool stuff, where the artist Oxy7 Gen from India uses Unreal Engine to tell a story, which is an audio sort of musical journey, which was very cool. And then there is UP Goa, along with Noah, a popular band in Indonesia, who shot their music video and virtual concert using Unreal Engine. And I think you have a video on that, which I would love to showcase. I think it's pretty cool.
We do indeed. If we can watch that video, please, that'd be great.
Atau biasa disebut XR, Extended Reality. Teknologi dunia perfilman yang kita gabungkan ke pertunjukan kita kali ini. Bersama Brimo, kita hadirkan Noah Beyond Mo Concert.
Super cool. So what happened there?
Well, tell
us about the Noah relationship.
Yeah, so we work closely with artists, and they pretty much use the engine to create their virtual concerts and their music videos. And I think it's pretty cool because it's real time, it's 3D, and it's spectacular to watch something like that. And we are here to support them. That's what is very exciting for us, Jasper. Supporting artists, and we want to do that.
Is there actually live content going on in Unreal Engine, or is it recorded?
It's live and it's real-time 3D, and Alter Ego is a perfect example of that. It's a typical music TV fashion, and the winners would get the cash prize. And if you saw that show, you mentioned you saw the episode 1. The judges, along with the host and in-person audiences, watched the performance on eye-level monitors placed strategically around the room, and the whole show was happening in real time. So it had to work in order for it to be there. So it's real time, it's 3D, and it's just as you see it. So I think it's fabulous, and that's where such mixed reality spectacles are possible, and we are constantly evolving to better those experiences for people worldwide.
So my next question is clearly, should we be doing Music Matters live in Unreal Engine?
Absolutely. I think that should be our goal for the next one, Jasper.
Tick. All right. See you next week. Final question, and then we'll get everyone back. And again, anyone out there in internet land, please get your questions in for this wonderful group of people. So Saishri, how is Epic and Unreal Engine working with Riot Games?
Riot is a very important partner for us. Valorant, for instance, uses Unreal Engine. But I would like to say that I think Riot, and we heard Justin a while ago, Riot is so fabulously evolving in the entertainment space, from games, animated series to esports. I mean, it's incredible to see how they're delivering some of the world's best connected and immersive experiences for millions of players worldwide. And they have had an explosive growth. And with the kind of player-driven standards they're setting, I think the industry is looking forward to what they bring to millions of the fans. And at Unreal, we are here to support them and bring out those experiences.
Excellent. I'm going to have to say it, but music matters.
Absolutely.
Yes, music matters. No. Anyway, thank you, Saishri. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Kerala. Don't go away. You're going to stay there, and Justin and Louisa are going to come back by the power of modern technology. Yes, they are back. Brilliant. Thank you so much for coming back. So we talked about a lot of the successes and how artists are using how artists are succeeding in gaming. I've had a question from Vinny, who wants to know, what are the main challenges for artists looking to get into gaming? Justin, let's start with you. What are the challenges?
I think that probably the challenge that, well, I think that one of the difficulties that we see when we kind of are approached by artists is like, for us especially, we are looking for artists whose fan base also overlaps with our fan base, so that you can create an organic experience. And I think oftentimes, sometimes when we talk to artists, they might see our audience as a sort of way to sort of capitalize, but they might not be thinking about sort of like how that overlap between their players and their fans links. So for me, when I kind of think about the local pitches that we kind of look at, that tends to be the biggest hurdle in kind of progressing a potential partnership forward to the next step.
Louisa, not Lou. What do you think the main challenges are for artists?
No, yeah, I think Justin's right. And, you know, a lot of the time, well, especially now, people want to get into gaming for the sake of getting into gaming. But, you know, what I mentioned earlier was, you know, we really, as a label, started researching, using our data platforms that we have access to, where our artists have their fans, what games they play and what markets they're in, and do they play console or mobile. And so that's how I think how our partnership with Riot works really well. You know, we've got a list of Valorant players, Wild Rift players, like they resonate with those fans in the local markets that they're trying to grow in Asia. And, you know, we know our artists and their fans best, and so do the gaming publishers. So, you know, I mentioned earlier, they can smell a phony partnership a mile away, and if it doesn't resonate, it's not going to go anywhere for anyone.
So, Saishri, what are the challenges to work in the metaverse?
Well, I think it's about how you are present in a connected and an immersive world. How do you get there? So I think at Unreal, we try to make it easier by empowering people with the right tools and technology to, you know, sort of use it and be a part of this metaverse. And when I spoke a little bit about Fortnite and what we do earlier, I think it's a hint to the metaverse. It's an open, connected system and immersive worlds, and we want more and more creators to join in this. There's not a walled garden, but an open, you know, system where people can collaborate and create creative, immersive experiences.
So next question is, now this is a question that definitely comes from me, and there's a little bit of story behind it, but everyone is talking about hybrid experiences, and we talked about it this morning as well, that the coming together of live and the metaverse or digital, and a lot of events have been hybrid forever. Sport is hybrid. You have 60,000 fans going crazy in a stadium and millions watching live online or on TV, whatever. That's been hybrid for 50 years. Music, however, is only just scratching at the surface of hybrid. So there are occasions where, now obviously live music is amazing, and there have been occasions where in the metaverse, you know, you mentioned Ariana Grande, Roblox, and a lot of stuff going on in Riot as well, where live music is successful. But can you see how that live experience and the digital experience in music can come together? And I'll ask Justin first. Do they work hand in hand, or should they be kept separate?
I think that the question of what constitutes the metaverse and how exactly can like events that happen online be more than extensions of what's happening in the live event. Like I think in the past, pre-pandemic, to me, the live event was the one that you wanted to be at. You wanted to be at the concert. And if you couldn't go to the concert, you would watch the YouTube video or watch it live online. And that was like a secondary experience that was tied to it. And what I'm seeing in this new world of like NFTs and the metaverse and kind of, you know, all the things that are happening with, like, I just got an Oculus, for example, the Rift 2, and I've been playing around in it and kind of seeing sort of the potential of that space. And frankly, like, especially like the work that you guys do. Yeah, exactly. Right. Pretty amazing, you know, but I was going to say for me, like, it really started to come clean to see an event that was like where online was like the primary experience to like the concerts that frankly have happened in Fortnite between Marshmello and Travis Scott, you know, as well as the Ariana Grande experience. To me, were like, wow, these are really amazing events where the primary experience is actually live inside sort of an online first experience. And I think as COVID wears down our ability to figure out how does show up at places wearing like shoes and pants like normal people, as being online has more and more connectivity points, like the Rift, which allows you to experience things in much more vivid and real ways. That world of hybrid, I think, is just going to become the norm, and I think that we don't even know yet what that's really going to look like. So I'm very excited.
That's why I'm really interested in the question, because I'm still trying to work out for events that we produce how does hybrid work. And honestly, but my personal opinion, I don't think that they sit on top of each other the same way a football match might. I think they sit side by side. One of the challenges, if something's live online, do people want to put socks on and go out and get on the bus and get all that kind of stuff? Louisa, so Warner Music, have you been looking at hybrid? Have you been looking at live and virtual live and bringing them together at all?
Well, I think, as Justin said, it's sort of depending on the pandemic and how these things, we've just learned, as everybody else has in the last 2 years, how to adapt, how to get our artists online, reaching their fans during this strange time. So I definitely think that hybrid is the way forward, and there will always be like people wanting to go to an event in real life, but maybe it's watching that virtual artist like Riot do a KDA or our new artist Harjang performing at it. And I really think that fans kind of expect that level of integration and experience anyway already. So I don't think this metaverse experience will go anywhere, and I think our artists will definitely keep performing in the virtual space. But TBC how that looks in the future.
Yeah, one of the conversations we had at Music Matters last week and this morning with Toa and Alex was, we think that the live experience, our generation thinks that those live festivals and concerts that we went to, that we got on the bus, we camped in muddy fields, we sat in the rain, we stood in the rain with our friends having the time of our lives, but it was a pain. Well, part of the fun of getting there was painful, but now if you're an 18-year-old and you're thinking, I don't want to do that, I can just stay at home. I've got my headphones on and I'm connecting with millions of people in League of Legends or Valorant, whatever. And so it's going to be interesting to see how that's why I'm fascinated to ask this question. There is no answer, because it is right at the start. So Saishri, to you, I mean, 100% of what you do is in the metaverse. But can you see the two? Can you see live and Web3 coming together?
Absolutely. I think Balenciaga is an example. All of us. It's not music, but the fashion and how we sort of integrated both worlds was a great example. Justin spoke about Marshmallow. It's a personal favorite of mine. Where the worlds of gaming, music, and celebrity combined to create a virtual experience. I mean, the stage came to life with building-sized holograms of characters, and while a custom set of graphics played behind Marshmallow's avatar. It's just pretty cool. And at certain points, time to the shifts in the fast-moving dance music, the stage would alter gravity, sending players bouncing into the sky and even floating in place at one point. So that's what happened virtually. I also think, Jasper, that when we are post-pandemic, I don't think live events as we saw them will go away, but they need to be spectacular, because I think the audience is looking at more and more spectacular experiences. I think the virtual world has sort of, I would say, spoiled us. We are looking for really spectacular things even when we go offline. Whether it's the screens or the whole ambience, I think it's a visual world now. I think we have to accept that. And I think that's how it's going to be while we look at a hybrid model. Even the live events, the way they are today, will change, and in a better way.
I think that's a very interesting. The spectacular thing is very interesting. I think you can add on another thing in there. Probably, if you can add a layer of exclusivity or inclusivity to make something small, which isn't wow, but you can say you were there, and that's a lot of the insights that have been coming out recently are that small is going to be beautiful and massive is going to be beautiful. It's the events that are in the middle that have to really ask the questions. So this is a debate that can go on and on and on. And we do our Live Matters events usually around to ask those questions as well. So my final question to the three of you. Now I'm going to go back in reverse. So Saishri, back to you to start with. What's up next for Unreal Engine? What's really exciting? What's coming up? What are we going to see? What does the future look like?
We are constantly building towards the metaverse. I know it's a hot topic, but what it essentially means is we want creators to collaborate and be a part of this metaverse that we're thinking of. And we are constantly evolving and bringing better tools and technology to our partners. And with our creator first approach, we are happy to support artists, musicians, companies to build immersive and spectacular experiences. And for us, it's about real-time technology and bringing new experiences to the consumer. So we are constantly evolving, and that's where we want to be. That's pretty much in the DNA of Epic. And as we progress, companies like Riot, some spectacular stuff out there. Justin, it's amazing to see. I'm a big fan of Arcane, so yes. So yeah, so look forward to all of that, and we are here to support companies and artists. Yeah, so that's what's the big next thing.
And conferences.
Yeah, we should do a hybrid model next time, Jasper. We probably should have avatars and
Boom! We did. I said this earlier, but I did a really cool interview with some friends at Meta a couple of weeks ago. We did a live interview in the Horizon rooms, and it was a little bit clunky. And at first you're kind of like, "Oh, what's that? What's that? What's that?" But once you've settled in, it's really cool. And one of us was in San Francisco, two of us were in Singapore, but we were sitting around a table. It's a little bit like this, but in 3D. And I had big, bright red afro as well because of because you can. Louisa, what is exciting in Warner World?
Well, I think definitely as a label, we've made a lot of strides forward in the digital metaverse space, equipping our artists up to sort of integrate into this world in the best way possible. I think they see a lot of benefit now, maybe turning themselves into avatars, as you mentioned earlier, because it's an alternative way to entertain their fans. It's an alternative revenue stream. They can sell concert tickets, sell merch through all these different worlds that are created. And then I also think that the virtual idols are a thing that's here to stay. They're massive in Asia and China and Japan. And I definitely think as a label, you'll see us signing them more sort of around the world as well.
Fantastic. Final word for you, Justin. We started with you, we're finishing with you. What's exciting in Riot Land?
So, we are building, I think, on the success of Arcane and starting to look at more exciting experiences that we can build out. I'm also excited personally about our esports tournaments that are coming up next year. And we're, especially here in Southeast Asia, we're making a more concerted effort to make bigger investments. And also personally, I'm super excited about the fact that we're going to do a really big beat, which I can't spill the beans around yet, in Q1, which is going to be located here in Southeast Asia. And can't tell you all the details yet, but stay tuned. And I'm super, super excited about it because it's very near and dear to my heart. So
and hopefully then the next edition of Gaming and Music Matters as well with our friends from Riot Games. Well, look, Justin, Louisa, Saishri, thank you so much for joining us. Really cool content today. Really good conversation. As ever, I could go on longer and longer, but we're pretty much out of time. Look, we talked about muddling up, which I thought was a really nice way of putting that, Justin. We talked about gaming being a valuable discovery platform. We talked about authenticity. Authenticity comes through all the time, but I think, Louisa, you then tied that back to don't just be in gaming for the sake of gaming. You have to be authentic, and your music has to be authentic. We talked about AI a lot. We talked about virtual idols being here to stay. We talked about Unreal, free to download. So expect a spike. Your servers may actually crash on the back of this session, Saishri. So I apologize for that. We talked about overlapping fan bases and how to communicate with them. We talked about the spectacular, and we talked about hybrid is the way forward. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much to Louisa, Saishri, and Justin. I'm also going to say thank you so much to the Riot Games team for supporting this idea of gaming, bringing gaming and music together. Any feedback you can give us, please do. If you're out in internet land, we always read everything and look at everything. But thank you again to everyone who spoke today, and good luck with this amazing collaboration between gaming and music. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.